Good morning, all. Today we'll talk about introduction to orthoptic evaluation. Okay, so what is orthoptics? We have all heard about digital eye strain and eye pain, eye strain, watering from eyes, headache associated with our eyes. Okay, so what is that? Okay, myself, Miss Kriti Mitra, assistant professor from Palan College of Management and Technology, will discuss about orthoptic evaluation. Okay, so what is an orthoptic evaluation? It is a systemic and step-by-step phenomena of evaluation of the efficacy of eye muscles during normal binocular eye movements to maintain binocular fusion. Okay, so our eye muscles actually help in movement of the eyeballs, and if there is any deficiency in the efficiency of the if there is a deficiency of the eye muscles, then we have a problem in our movement of the eyeball and also in seeing images. Okay, normal binocular eye movements, we have both eyes, we see one image from each eye, then these two images from right eye and left eye fuse together or combine together to form a single image. So that is called our binocular single vision. So binocular eye movements means when we move our both eyes together. So that is our binocular eye movements. So it is a step-by-step phenomena of evaluation of the efficacy of eye muscles during normal binocular eye movements to maintain binocular fusion. It leads to an idea of accommodative vergence or fusional vergence anomalies and provides a guideline to treat the causes and rectify it by practice of some orthoptic exercises accordingly. Okay, so the problem may be due to accommodative anomalies, the problem may be due to vergence anomalies, the problem may be due to fusional vergence anomalies. What is our aim? Our aim is to categorize or differentiate the anomalies into these categories. If we can understand which category the problem lies in, then only we can treat the conditions of the patients. Okay, nowadays we heard about, like, a young patient comes to your clinic and complains about headache, eye strain while working. Okay, and if the person has to sit in front of computer for long hours, the person definitely has some kind of eye strain. Sometimes the eye aches, there is difficulty for him to maintain his work balance and all. Okay, and also after long, like 8 hours of work, he is getting tired. We all have heard about this. Okay, so for young professionals, for computer users, one who works in banks, this is a common complaint of digital eye strain which we come across. Okay, also there are some students, some children complain that, like, when I am studying, I cannot concentrate on my studies. Okay, so we have to stick on what is the complaint of the patient. Okay, now what are the basic things we need to see whether the patient is having binocular single vision? Means if he can use his both eyes to fuse into one image, whether the patient has diplopia means double vision, whether the patient is having suppression means if he suppresses his one eye's image, that happens in amblyopia. We have to check the ocular alignment and status of accommodations. Coming to indications, main complaints of patients, yes, headache. Headache is a big taboo. Okay, why? Because we need to categorize headache into ocular and non-ocular headache. What is ocular headache? Ocular headache means the headache which is related to our eye, and non-ocular headache means headache which is not related to the eye. It may be due to some other reasons. We have all heard about sinusitis. Yes, we have a pain around the eyebrows and there is some kind of stimmering pain and all. Okay, and around the glands and all. That is our sinusitis. And migraine also, we have also heard about migraine or some kind of one-sided headache. Okay, so these are all neurological conditions we need to take it, means differentiate between the ocular and non-ocular headache. So these are non-ocular headaches. Ocular headache means while working on computer, while working on your iPad or reading books and all, you get a headache. So that is basically your ocular headache. So we have to take a very detailed history of the headache so that we can distinguish between the ocular and non-ocular headache, and we can address the problem of the patient. Now first thing what we need to ask for headache history is the duration of headache. How much time does the headache persist? Okay. Time of onset of the headache, is the headache associated only during reading time or any sort of near work, during watching computer for continuously? Okay, these are all ocular headache. Third point, okay, increases while going out on sun, associated with pain around eyebrows. Definitely this is a kind of sinusitis. Okay, and also we need to ask the patient, how do you get relief of your headache? Do you take food and get relieved of headache? Do you fall asleep and then your headache gets relieved? Do you eat chocolate? Do you eat coffee? You get relieved of your headache? Or you need to take medicines for the headache, or you use some kind of balms and all. Okay, so we need to ask how the headache gets relieved. Then only we can differentiate. Okay, and if there is any kind of vomiting sensation during headache, or if we bend down while during headache occurs, if we bend down and all, okay, that may be due to your migraine and all. Okay, now coming to intermittent blurring of vision during reading, that is very important. Some children complain that when I am reading, after some time I lose interest in reading. Okay, because why? Because the letters becomes blurred, and sometimes after that the letters becomes double. We have watering of eyes. I cannot concentrate on my studies. Now the parents may scold the child. What are you telling? You don't have any intention to read. That's the reason you are complaining. But we have to make understand to the patient that the patient's parents that definitely your child might be having a problem. Let us evaluate him. Okay. Signs of intermittent diplopia means sometimes there is a double vision while reading. Okay, it may be an intermittent divergent squint. Then difficulty to focus at distance and near simultaneously. Suppose you are working at the computer. Okay, so it is at your one hand distance, almost 50 centimeter distance. So while working on the computer, you need to write something on the table, or you need to see at a mobile. So you have a difficult to focus from your intermediate distance. So if you look at the far, that is your far distance. If you look at the computer, that is your intermediate, and if you look at your near, that is your near distance. So if you have difficult while looking at a computer, if you feel difficult to focus something at distance, so that is your difficulty to focus at distance and near simultaneously. Matlab means at same time. Okay. So if there is a difficult to focus at the near and distance simultaneously, definitely there may be an anomalies of accommodation anomalies. It is giving, it is triggering into it. We need to check the accommodative facility after doing the NRA and PR and MEM findings. I'll come into the details of all these procedures. Blurring of vision more at distance than near. Okay, sometimes it happens that I cannot see the distance object, but near it is clear. So it can definitely come. Okay, so we need to check the refraction, and it may be we have to check the ocular motility status, and orthoptic evaluation also we have to do. It may be a case of divergence insufficiency. I will discuss about all these things later on. Okay, splitting of images while moving an object forward means, suppose an object is coming near to you, but once it comes a little nearer to you, it is splitting into two. Okay, that may be due to convergence insufficiency. Inward turning of eyes and fatigue while reading, definitely what we are discussing previously. Okay, so sometimes while checking the patient, we can get a varying reflex in these situations. So if we get a varying reflex when we doing a refraction, means retinoscopy, that may be a case of pseudomyopia. Okay, the patient may accept high minus, the patient may accommodate profusely. Okay, so we have a high lead off value in the MEM. Fine, there may be a gross reduction in near vision. There is distance vision is clear, but near vision affects for a young individual in this case of pseudomyopia. Okay, so this is my first part of the lecture. So we'll come to the second part soon.